I'm just going to talk briefly today about visceral fat. As I said before, we've had quite a few questions about what it is, and how to reduce it. Oh, fiddling with my pen, that's not good. I'm always a fiddler. So what is visceral fat? So first of all, let's probably just start broadly in the terms of body fat. So in our body, we've got body fat, obviously. It does do some important jobs: protection, insulation, that kind of thing. So we do need some body fat. So we've got about 3 different types, without going into making it too sciencey. We've got about 3 different types of body fat in our body. So we've got essential body fat, and this is normally a darker colour fat, so brown or beige fat. And this essential fat is generally found around your neck, in your chest, around your collarbone, and down the spine. So it's darker fat, so it's generally good for you. So to help that, you kind of need to eat your healthy salmon, your healthy fats, and avocados. So that's your essential body fat. You do need it in your body, so you can't use all your body fat. And then we have subcutaneous fat. So this is white fat, and this is the fat that you can pinch. So this is generally found so we have 2 different sort of body shape types. We've got apple shape, which is generally where you're big around the belly, and that's generally a high indicator that you have quite a high visceral fat. Or you can be a pear shape, and that's less dangerous, and that is more that you have more subcutaneous fat, and that's fat that you can pinch, and that's white. And then obviously we have white visceral fat as well. So there are 3 different sort of types of fats that we find in the body. So we do have visceral fat. It's needed in your abdomen to protect your organs, so we do need it for protection. It is wrapped around all your essential organs in your body. So it's wrapped around your intestines, it's wrapped around your liver. So all the organs that you find around in your body, you're going to find some fat in between those, and that's what we call visceral fat. And it's deep inside the body, so you can't see it. And there's no real way to measure how much visceral fat that anyone has, other than sort of really high-tech MRI scanning. But we've got the InBody, which is pretty much the next best thing. It has less than 1% error margin on measuring visceral fat. So all us guys, we're really lucky that we have that facility available to us. So before measuring tools such as the InBody were around, visceral fat was measured on your waist size generally. So people would just put a tape measure around your waist, and if you're a female, more than 35 inches on your waist or more, you were considered to have high visceral fat, and for male it was 40 inches. But obviously technology's come on a little bit more than that now, so we do have machines like the InBody that can measure a lot more accurately what our visceral fat is. And if you look on your InBody sheet, visceral fat, if you haven't seen it before, but hopefully you've been pointed out where that is on your InBody sheet. It is on your InBody sheet halfway down the page on the right hand side. So you'll get your recommended calories, and then just under there you've got a little visceral fat chart, and that will tell you what your visceral fat is, so the fat around your organs in your abdomen. The InBody machine did used to only have, I think Claire explained this last week on her live on the InBody, it did used to have a maximum level of 20, but now they've had an update, so it goes higher than that now. So if you have seen your visceral fat on your InBody sheet jump up, then this is the reason why. Not because you have suddenly gone really high in your visceral fat, it's because the machine's had an update, and before it couldn't measure over 20. So you could have been at 25 and you could have been generally coming down and still be over 20, but you have been coming down. It's just the machine never could really measure that. So now it can, which is awesome. So if you had any questions on that, please feel free to stick them in the comments. Hey Mark, hey Karen, hey Summer, how you all doing? So I've just gone through what visceral fat is. So it's the abdominal fat. Generally, if you're more of an apple shape, you're going to have higher visceral fat. and it is the fat that protects your internal organs. And we don't really have any way to measure it. You can't pinch it like subcutaneous fat. So why is visceral fat dangerous? So I would say the main reason that it is dangerous is you can't see it, basically. You can't see it, you can't pinch it. So if you can't measure it, you have no clue how much visceral fat you have. So as I said, we are really lucky that we have the in-body machine that can look inside our bodies and tell us exactly what our visceral fat level is. Hey Belinda, how are you? Good evening, good evening. So I've done half the live already. If you watch this back on Facebook, please ignore the first 10 minutes where I was just talking to myself and Claire Dangerfield about my weekend because no one was coming on. So now you're all starting to come on, so that is awesome. So we've gone through what visceral fat is, and now we're going to just go through a little bit why visceral fat is dangerous. So the first reason is you can't see it, you can't pinch it, you can't measure it, so you have no clue, and so we have the in-body. The second thing is abdominal fat cells are, they have found in science, you know, they do a lot of research and stuff into this, that abdominal fat cells are biologically active. So just like an organ produces hormones and other substances that can affect health, so can visceral fat. So visceral fat can pump out substances that can be detrimental to your health. It can also pump out estrogen as well. So obviously, if you have too much estrogen in your body, you're going to be holding on to that fat all around the rest of your body as well. So that's what estrogen does if we have too much of it. It also pumps out substances or things, hormones, I don't know what they are, substances called cytokines, and they're inflammatory markers. So the more cytokines are going around in your body, these generally are inflammatory and put you at risk of other diseases that are very, very detrimental to your health. So things like cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, type 2 diabetes, strokes, high cholesterol. So all those things that we don't want at all are preventable by reducing our visceral fat levels. And the visceral fat is also located near one of the main veins that carries blood from the intestines to the liver. So these substances that are released by your abdominal fat enter this vein and travel to the liver, and that affects your blood lipid levels or your blood fat levels, and that's where we can get insulin resistance from, and your bad cholesterol, so the LDL cholesterol, will be high. So we need to try and avoid all these kind of things by trying to reduce the visceral fat as much as we can. And obviously with insulin resistance, your blood glucose levels remains high, and that leads to type 2 diabetes. So all these lifestyle diseases can be helped by reducing our visceral fat levels. Hey Charlie, welcome back Charlie. Hi Paula, hey Leslie, hiya. So Denise says, what can it go up to? Actually, I don't know what the maximum is now, Denise. I know I've seen 25. I haven't seen anything higher than that. So maybe Jane or Mark, if they're on, can answer that. I'm actually not entirely sure what the maximum level is now, but it's definitely higher than 20. So that's good for us. So that's, in a nutshell, why it's more dangerous than our subcutaneous fat, the fat that we can pinch. So how do we fix visceral fat? Well, to be honest, there is no visceral fat diet. You can't spot reduce, as we know, we've said this a lot of times in the gym. We can't spot reduce fat from where we want to. So for example, sit-ups will tighten your abdominals, but they won't reduce fat in your abdominals. So you can't actually spot reduce fat anywhere. So, and that applies to the same for visceral fat. You can't spot reduce visceral fat. If you're going to lose body fat, you're going to lose it from all over. So you're going to lose visceral fat, you're going to lose subcutaneous fat, and you will also lose some of that essential fats that I've mentioned previously in the video. But it's all good. We need to lose body fat anyway, so you know it's going to come off slower than when you put it on. Obviously, it's always harder. But you can't spot reduce visceral fat. You need to have really healthy habits in place to reduce both visceral fat and the subcutaneous fat. So the first recommendation is obviously moderate intensity exercise, at least 30 minutes a day. So if you guys are coming into the gym 4 times a week, that is awesome. That is intense exercise. That's even better than moderate intensity exercise. But the days that you have rest days, you kind of need to make sure that you are still exercising, as in going for a walk, going for a cycle, or something, a little jog maybe, for at least 30 minutes per day, so that you're remaining active. And that is really, really important. So again, 4 times a week at the gym, brilliant. On your rest days, go for a walk, go for a cycle, so keep active for at least 30 minutes per day, and that will really help your body fat and your visceral fat levels. And then obviously the subject that I go on and on about all the time is NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So that is exercise not planned in the gym, so keeping yourself active all day, getting your steps up, not sitting at the desk for too long, so getting up every hour, going for a walk, cleaning, housework counts as NEAT, yawning, stretching, anything, just moving your body counts as NEAT. And that's also really important to help start reduce body fat, visceral fat levels. So that old analogy of being a couch potato, really, really bad for visceral fat levels. So we want to be up and moving as much as we can during the day. I know sometimes it's hard, but the sun's out, so it should be pretty easy. Hey Alicia, how are you? Nice to see you on. So make sure you're getting in the gym for your 4 sessions a week at least. Rest days, you're trying to get in your 10,000 steps. I know that's quite a big ask for some, but you know, if 5,000 is doable for you, then try and aim for 5,000 a day as well. So this isn't a live about NEAT, so I'm not really going to go into that, but just make sure you are as active as you possibly can be when you get out of your bed in the morning, and stay active. So if you do have a desk job, set an alarm every hour, get up, walk around, especially all these work from home days as well. I know people have started commuting again, so you are getting some steps in going into the office. But once you're in the office, try not to sit at your desk for a 3-hour stint without moving. That's not good for any health markers at all. So make sure you're moving. And then the second thing, so as well as moderate intensity exercise every day, you do need to include some resistance training at least 3 times a week. That's where the strength classes are awesome for that. We do resistance training all the time anyway in the gym in our functional fit. So anything with weights, kettlebells, dumbbells, it's all resistance training. And there's a lot of benefits to resistance training. I think again we've been through this on some of the previous lives before, but resistance training, obviously it makes you stronger, so that grows your muscle mass. So we really want to grow muscle mass, so then you can eat more calories in the day. It also helps your bone density as well, so obviously as we get older we've got the risk of osteoporosis, so we really want to help our bone and our joint health by resistance training as much as we can with weights. And make those weights challenging as well. They need to be challenging. So if you normally use a 3 kilogram dumbbell in the gym, you know, maybe try picking up some 4s, doing a set or even half a set. That's the only way you're going to progress. So don't pick up the same weights every time that you go in the gym. Pick up a heavier weight, pick up your normal weights, try it with the heavier weights. You may surprise yourself, you never know. All right, so that's that, and it's really, really good for bone density. So it's not just good for being strong, it's got all sorts of, you know, really good health markers that you can help. So your bone density, it improves your posture. So we all over the desk hunch shoulders, we can lift our shoulders, lift our chest, and then we can be better posturally, and that is awesome for your spine. So Your spine likes to be in a correct posture. It doesn't like being like this over a desk. All right. It also reduces the risk of injury because it increases joint stability, and it also reduces your risk of sarcopenia, which is muscle wastage, and that is something really, really important as we head, you know, over sort of 60. Sarcopenia, you do have a real risk if you don't eat enough protein and you do not resistance train. You really need to, if you want to keep mobile when you're old, resistance train, eat protein. It's so, so important. It's also really good for our mental health. Obviously, loads and loads of benefits for our mental health, and it improves your muscle mass. So your muscle mass, your SMM line on your in-body will increase the more you do resistance training and put your weights up. Anyone got anything they want to tell me, share with me, show me, ask away. It's just me chatting away. So just a recap for the guys that haven't been on. So we're talking about visceral fat. This is your abdominal fat, generally found if you're an apple shape and not pear shape. So pear shape, you've got more subcutaneous fat, which is the fat under the skin. And that's the fat you can pinch. You can't measure visceral fat, really. So obviously with technology, we've got MRI scans and we've got in-body. So lucky us. We can see how much visceral fat we've got. In-body is really accurate, less than 1% error rate on our body fat mass and our visceral fat levels. So we are super lucky to have that. It is dangerous because we can't see it, we can't measure it. They are biologically, well, the abdominal fat is biologically active. So it does produce hormones. So it can produce estrogen, of which we don't want too much. Because that just makes us store even more fat, and it does release inflammatory markers, not to get too sciencey, but they're called cytokines, and they increase your risk of all sorts of nasty things like CV disease, so cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, stroke, high cholesterol, that kind of thing. So we want to try and get our visceral fat levels as low as we can. And how to do that? There is no spot reduction diet. Moderate intensity exercise, so your gym sessions plus on your rest days at least 30 minutes of walking or cycling or other activity that keeps you nice and active. Resistance training, super, super important for visceral fat. Important for everything actually. Nothing can beat resistance training. Makes you stronger, makes your bones stronger. Really good for your mental health, improves your joint stability, posture, everything. Loads and loads of benefits for resistance training. And then obviously after all the moving stuff, we come to what comes in our mouth, and that's diets. That's also very, very important. Oh, there's a question. Leslie. So Leslie says, what is considered a healthy visceral fat level? So a healthy visceral fat level, so an indication of good health, is a visceral fat level under 10. So that's what we generally say is a healthy level to have in your body. Some people have very low visceral fat. We don't want it to be too low because we need some fat around our organs and in our abdomen to protect our organs. But anything above 10, we are sort of starting to say that's not good. We need to get it back to 10 or under. So that's the level we kind of have, or in-body says for good health. Sam Gill has done 6 sessions at the gym this week. Yes, including stretch. Yay! Core and strength workshop yesterday. Awesome work, Sam. You're looking really good at the moment, so well done. How was your strength workshop? And oh yeah, she's done lots of walking as well for the World Wildlife Fund. So you are on it, Sam. Done really, really well. Well done. Hope you enjoyed the strength workshop with Mark. And I see you booked on stretch as well again on Monday, so that's really good, because mobility is also very, very important. So diet is also really, really important as well for visceral fat. So we have all the healthy habits on the habit tracker in the back of the nutritional booklet. If you don't have a nutritional booklet, they are distributed around the gym, so just pick yourself up one if you don't have one. And in the back of there, you've got a meal planner that you can use, and a blank one, and then you've also got a habit tracker in the back that you can rip out and you can put it onto your fridge. And this is one of my favourite things that when new members start, I like to point out. So you've got all your healthy habits down the side, and then you can put a tick or a cross if you achieve that particular habit, and you can scale those habits to what suits you. So we have 10,000 steps on there, but if that's a very unrealistic goal for you and 5,000 is better, then obviously you make that goal scalable to you, and then you tick off if you've done your 5,000. So some habits are easier than others. We obviously, no one can be 100% good 100% of the time. We understand that, but we like to see more ticks than crosses. And then you can look through that habit tracker, and then you can see where you're going wrong. If your water's getting more crosses than ticks, then maybe that week's goal you can focus on your water intake. So Sam's visceral fat is 20, so sort yourself out. Yeah. So the more you're doing really well, Sam. Definitely the walking was going to help that, and the strength training when you start doing that. So I see you've done the strength workshop. That will really help with that. So keep going with those good habits, Sam. You're doing awesome. And as I said, diet is also very important. So you really need to make attention to your portion sizes. So again, in the nutritional booklet, we have a guide to portion sizes. So what size portion a piece of protein should be, so palm, your carbs, and your vegetables as well. So have a quick look at that. It's also really, really important to focus on your lean protein. Another one of my pet loves is protein, and how much you should eat per day. Again, I'll just go over this really, really quickly. It's not alive on protein, but your minimum per day, you should be looking at 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight as an approximation. So get your calculators out and see how much you should be eating. We generally see on average that people eat about 50 to 60 grams of protein a day, and that is not enough. So most of us will be over 100 grams of protein, which is quite hard to achieve if you're not used to eating that way. So again, it makes you more mindful of your food and what goes in your mouth. And I can assure you, it's really hard to overeat protein. So it also helps your calorie deficit. Leslie, despite being immobile, she's managed core classes most days using on demand where needed. Good stuff, Leslie. Because you need it so blooming hurts. That's awesome as well. Because exercise is really good for mental health, especially when you have an injury. So it's really, really important that you try and do stuff that you can, even if it's at home, and like Leslie's doing on demand. So she's still going on there. So really good. Well done, Leslie. That's awesome. So portion size, lean protein. So lean protein, you want non-fatty chicken, you want your turkeys, a non-fatty turkey. I think they do chicken, turkey, sausages now. I know I'm not a meat expert, I've no idea. Maybe Belinda can help, she's on, I think. So you've got your beans, your pulses, tofu. Obviously you get a carb element with those. So to keep my protein up without the carb element, I tend to use my vegan protein powder. So 3 of those a day, that's 90 grams of protein done for me. So I did notice on my InBody that my muscle mass has decreased, and I know that's because I've got a shoulder injury, so I can't lift as much weight as I used to at the moment. So I need to make sure that gets better, and then I can start lifting again. And also I've been studying for the last 6 weeks as well, so I've not been as active in the gym as I have been. So that has shown on my InBody. So my muscle mass has gone down and my body fat has increased. So I'm trying to turn that back around now by increasing my protein and trying to do heavy weights where I can. So generally lower body for me at the moment. It's also really important to get that you're getting the right vitamins as well. So it's been shown that vitamin D, so we don't start synthesizing that from the sun until about May. So you do need a vitamin D supplement in the winter months. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not advocating anything like that, but very helpful to take vitamin D. And also calcium is also really, really important to help reduce visceral fat. Hey Sharish, how are you? Nice to see you on. So dietary wise, we can get these nutrients from leafy greens and low fat dairy, and it is generally proved that a plant-based diet, if you do have a plant-based diet, then your visceral fat is generally lower. So what does encourage belly fat? So it's probably no shocker to you guys that trans fats are the worst thing for visceral fat. So trans fats are found in dairy, in meats, or fatty meats, refined foods, processed foods, deep fried foods, foods that taste really good, are generally full of trans fats and are not good for your visceral fat levels at all. You kind of need to avoid partially hydrogenated oils as well. They're trans fats. Hey Michelle, how are you doing? And you do need to avoid high fructose corn syrup. That is a big no-no in any food. High fructose corn syrup is not good for your liver either. So just be mindful of what goes in your mouth. Have a read of the labels before you buy anything. Make sure your portion sizes are in line with what you should be eating. Stick to your lean proteins, 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight to aim for per day. That's your bare minimum. Try and stick to a plant-based diet as much as you can. If you do like your meats, then obviously make them the lean chicken or lean beef. I think there's turkey mince now. Is that lean? I don't know. Sorry, I'm not very good with meat. Yeah, so all those kinds of things in your diet. So the longer you stick, I mean, it's not going to be an instant improvement. It's a long journey that you're on, especially if your visceral fat level is over 10. We do say that you can reduce your visceral fat by 1 point every 4 to 6 weeks if you stick to your habits, go to the gym, get your moderate intensity exercise in, do some resistance training, which you will do if you're going to the gym anyway. And this is a it is the way to fix your visceral fat. There is no magic answer. There's nothing that you can do specifically. We can't spot reduce visceral fat. So we need to really stick to these healthy habits as much as we can. And that will hopefully in turn on the InBody, you will see your visceral fat level will come down. So we do need you to weigh regularly as well. So once per week, that gives us a better view of your progress, both in your muscle mass growth, your visceral fat levels, your body fat percentage. I know monthly members, you get a check-in every 6 weeks with either myself or Claire or Jane, and we pop on, just check your InBody, just to check how you're doing, your progress, and maybe offer some advice or support if you need it. But it's not all bad. There is one good thing about visceral fat, and that one good thing is it is the easiest fat to lose. So the subcutaneous fat under your skin is really stubborn, really hard to lose. But visceral fat, the fat that you can't see in your abdomen between your organs, is the easiest fat to lose. So if you get your healthy habits on track and get all your exercise in, your resistance training, you should start to reduce that visceral fat quicker than you will see the fat reduce sort of under the skin, sort of the fat that you can pinch. So I hope that helps a little bit about visceral fat. Has anyone got any questions? Because I have been talking for a whole half an hour without stopping. I have been rambling on. Anyone got any questions? So Sam says, I just ate half a chicken and veg. Awesome. Was that oven cooked? I'm guessing it's oven cooked because you're healthy with your food. And Leslie's going to spend the next day with abdoms by the looks of it. How is your calf, Leslie? Let us know. Is it any better yet? Hey Joe, how are you? Hope you're well. So if you just joined, we were talking about visceral fat. I've talked about half an hour now. Just waiting to see if anyone's got any questions before I sign off. So I think I've covered everything. I've covered what it is, why it's dangerous, how we can fix it, and then obviously, it's not all bad. There is one good thing about visceral fat. It's the easiest fat to lose. So Michelle, so is it easy to lose fatty liver fat? Fatty liver fat? I'm not sure actually. I'm not 100% up on fat around the liver, but that I think would be classed as visceral fat. So, and I know the liver is the only organ in the body that can reheal itself as well. So I would say with a really healthy diet and with your resistance training and exercise, then yeah, I don't see why not actually. It's definitely the fat under the skin, the subcutaneous fat, the white fat, that's the really stubborn fat and really hard to lose. And fat inside of us is the easiest fat to lose, so I would say it is. So Michelle, I've been trying intermittent fasting for it. How is that? How are you finding it? Hey Tamsin, how are you finding intermittent fast? It's not for everybody. If you can last 500 calories on a day, and you're getting results, then that's good, but I personally wouldn't advocate that. I would stick to, you know, a good calorie deficit per day, doing it nice and healthily that way. But some things work for some systems work for other people. So when we're all individuals, as I say, so we all have different ways of doing things. Sam Gill, milk thistle. Yeah, milk thistle is really good for the liver. So Leslie's got another physio appointment tomorrow. That's good. We'll need to get you back up on the feet, Leslie. Get you whooping away at those burpees again. So Sam oven cooked chicken. Remove the skin. Yeah, always good to remove the skin on chicken and any meat. Move the fat around the steak if you're having steak. I know what's the popular steak now? I can't even think now. Where the fat's in it and it melts in it. I don't know. But I also remove all the skin from fish as well, cooking that. So remove the salmon skin. I know it's got a lot of good fatty acids in it, so we do need fatty acids, so don't cut out all fat. We do need it. To Michelle, I'm quite happy I'm not on low calorie, just wait longer between meals. Yeah, I mean some people it works really well for them. I'd probably just be really hungry and miserable if I did that. So Claire Dangerfield, she's going to get visceral. What's yours, Claire? Must be, I'm sure it must be under 10. So Michelle, yeah, take milk thistle. I used to take milk thistle actually. It's good. My brother had it. I got him to check diet. Oh, okay, cool. So it worked for your brother. So change the diet. Yeah. So you can't beat a diet full of, you know, lean protein. Nice, lots of vegetables to get all your nutrients as well. Always really helpful. So that. Any other questions? Any other comments? Yeah, what is your visceral fat level, Claire? I would say it's quite low, considering the amount of time you spend in the gym. So Michelle's is 16. Okay, so it's mid. So, you know, you could easily get that down to 10 by the last quarter if you really stuck to it. So every 4 to 6 weeks, you can reduce it by a point. So Claire's 13. Oh, that's surprising, Claire. That's surprising. Okay, well we can put that on the goals board, Claire. Get your visceral fat back down to 10 or below. That'll be a really good goal to put on the board for this year. So that would be, say, 4 or 5 months. Leslie said, yeah, so Leslie says, Claire, you need to demand a recount on that. Yeah, it is really interesting because it's called, there's an abbreviation, I can't think what it is now. It's called skinny fat, so you can be really skinny and still have a really high visceral fat level. If you've got a really bad diet, don't do any exercise or whatever. So you can see, you know, a lady walking down the street, she's, you know, got the body image that you want or whatever, but she could have really high visceral fat. You don't know, you don't know because she can't measure it because she doesn't have an in-body machine like we do. So yeah, it's the invisible fat. So you can be really, really thin and still have high visceral fat, and that's the dangerous thing about it. Does anyone have any other questions before I go and I stop waffling and boring you all silly? Hope you all found it useful, just to, you know, delve into it a little bit more. So remember, you can find it on your in-body sheet on the right hand side. We do like it to be under 10 to be at a healthy level. So if any of you are kind of hovering around 10 to 15, then maybe make it a goal and put it on the board at the gym, whichever gym that you're at, to reduce it to 10. So you don't have, you know, there's no time level on it, but if you work out, you know, you're going to reduce 1 point every 6 weeks, you can work yourself out a nice time frame on that and put it on your gym goals board. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. I know everyone's probably out having, you know, some drinks, barbecues or whatever, but I will put this on the Facebook page so people can catch up on it. Please do put catch up on it if you watch it back, and give me some hearts. We all like a heart. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds for any questions before I go and cook myself some dinner for tonight. It's been lovely having you on, lovely talking to you all as always. Hey Tash. Oh, that's all right, Tash, you can watch it on catch up. Okay. Oh, hey Claire, didn't see you on. I don't see any of these comments coming up. Am I doing something wrong? Have I missed like 1,000 questions and I don't know about it? I'm scrolling back, sorry ladies. Did I, was it Sam, Kelly? No, I didn't. Cool. All right, I didn't miss any. I have got you all. Perfect. All right, my lovelies, have a lovely week. Get your gym sessions booked in, eat good, get that NEAT up, resistance train, eat healthy, and enjoy the sun, because it's going to be an amazing week. So it's a good week to get those walks in, out of the gym, and then hopefully we will all see you in the gym next week. Take care and have a good Sunday evening. Goodbye.